In lesson 1-3, we're going to be looking at different ways to find the mean. And so we start that with our math message for today. And it says 6 friends went out to lunch. The graph shows how much each person paid. Maria and Jalen used it to figure out how much the friends would have paid if they split the bill equally. Maria imagined moving dollars around so that each person had the same number. Jalen found the total number of dollars spent and divided it by the number of people. They both got the same answer, $8, but whose method will work for splitting any bill equally? So if we look at the 2, we know that if we take Maria's and just kind of move things and shift them around so that everybody is equal, that will work out. If we look at Jalen's, find the total number and divide it by the number of people, they're both getting the same answer, so either they're both wrong or they're both right. But which one is going to be a little bit easier? And I'm suggesting that it's going to be Jalen. And let's look at why. Again, even though they both are right, they both can do it their own ways. Let's look at Jalen's way in particular today. So if we look at our little graph here, it says that each blue dot represents $2. So if that's the case, then Dina has $2, $4, $6 that she spent. Joe, 2, 4, 6, 8. Sophie, 2, 4, 6. Anika, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Put that right there. Paul had 2, 4, 6, and then a half of 1. So half of $2 is $1. So 2, 4, 6 plus 1 is 7. AJ has 2, 4, 6, 8 plus a half, which is 9. Because again, a whole circle is $2, so a half a circle is going to equal $1. Okay, so that's how we got the 9 and the 7 there. So let's again look at Jalen's and how if we add them all up and divide it by how many people we have, a little bit easier than making this graph and then just shifting things around. So if I look at adding these things up, I have 12 plus 8, which is 20. 6 plus 6, which is 12. So now I have $32. And then 9 plus 7, 16. And then that's $48. So right now the whole bill came to $48. Now we need to find out how much each person pays in order to split that bill up evenly. So we know we're going to have to come up with 8 here somehow, but let's work out the logistics of how to come up with that 8. So now we need to look at how many friends there are that went to lunch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to take that number of what the total bill was and divide that by 6. And we know that 6 times 8 is 48. So that's how Jalen got $8 each. Okay? Again, both methods work of splitting that up. Just Jalen's a little bit more mathematically explainable than how Maria used to kind of shift and move things around. So again, they're both $8, but to find the mean, and you might want to write this in your journal because we're going to be working a lot with that definition in this lesson. To find the mean, you're going to add up the data and then divide by the number of pieces in that data set. Okay, and in this case it was the number of friends that went to lunch, so that's where we got our 6. So you're going to add up all the numbers and divide it by the number of numbers in that set of data. Now this lesson has us looking at a box of raisins, and you might be sitting with a box of raisins, it might be a container full of counters, whatever it is that you have as your example for today. We'll just kind of substitute it for raisins if it's not actually raisins that we're working with. So you have a container with a certain number of counters, raisins, pennies, whatever it is, cookies, whatever it is inside of your container. I want you to take a guess in how many you think are inside of that box. So go ahead and do number 1 now. Number 2 asks you to open that box. So go ahead and open it. Just kind of peeking it inside. This time estimate the number of items in that container. Go ahead and do number 2. Now looking at number 3, it says count the raisins and write the number. So go ahead and dump out however many things were inside of that container. Count them up and record your data. And then you're going to go ahead and do the same thing for everybody else in your group as well. So go ahead and fill in that table to the right with the name of the person and then how many items they had inside of their container. Make a prediction for number 5, and if we had another box, make a group prediction for how many items would be inside that other box. And then number 6 asks us to find the average number of raisins per box for the group at the right. So we have 2 groups here, Group A and Group B. And we're going to go ahead and find an average number of raisins for those 2 groups. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and add on another page, and we're going to take that data. Okay, so back to this page, you again have numbers 1 through 5 already filled out, and then you should have a 30 and a 30 in here. The data for these ones here are going to be different depending on which group you're in and what your estimation was. So that's why I didn't write anything in those, but you should have something in all of those. So this page at the end will be filled. Okay? Number 7 asks us to make a different data set for group C and D. So there is no group C or D yet. Right now you're going to create the data for those 2 groups. Filling this in, keeping with that average of 30. Listing 5 boxes of raisins per group. Okay, so for my data, I need to have 5 pieces of data, and my average has to be 30. So again, I'm going to add a new paper here, a clean page here. So here we go. We had Group A, which had the data 27 and 30. Remember, I'm only going to add 2 of those numbers at a time. So 7 plus 0 is 7. 2 plus 3 is 5. The next set of data was 32. 7 plus 2 is 9. 5 plus 3 is 8. Then we had a 33. 9 plus 3 is 12. 8 plus 1 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. And then our last one was 28. 2 plus 8 is 10. 2 plus 1 is 3. Plus 2 is 5. 1 plus nothing is 1. So then we have that. We haven't found our average or a mean yet, but we need to do that. So we know that all of the people in this group had 150 raisins. Now we need to look at how many pieces of data we started with. 27, 30, 32, 33, and 28. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of data. So now I'm going to take that 150 and divide it by how many pieces of data there were, which was 5. 5 does not go into 1. Remember, putting something up there as a placeholder, so when we start doing decimals, you don't write something in the wrong place, or make sure you move over to that next place. So now 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 times 3 is 15. 15 minus 15 is 0. Bring down to the line that next number, which is 0. Now you have to ask yourself, how many times is 5 going to 0? And again, that's 0 times 5 is 0. And when I subtract, I get 0. So group A had a mean, or an average, of 30 raisins per box. Okay, again, that was for A. Now let's go ahead and look at B. So B's set of data was 29 and 28. 9 plus 8 is 17. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5. 32 was my next number. 7 plus 2 is 9. 5 plus 3 is 8. 31 was my next number. 9 plus 1 is 10. 1 plus 8 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. And then my last number was 30. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 3 is 5. 1 plus nothing is 1. And then again, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of data. So I'm going to take my total and divide it by 5. 5 does not go into 1, so put something up there as the placeholder. 5 into 15 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 15 is 0. Bring down your 0. 5 goes into 0 0 times. 0 times 5 is 0, so no remainder. So again, for B, I'm getting 30 raisins as well. So an average or a mean of 30 raisins. And on your paper, I know it's asking you for the average. Next to both of those, I want you to go ahead and write the mean. These two words mean the same thing. Okay, so put that in there as well. Average and the mean. And so here we go. Again, we want that mean to stay 30 and 5 pieces of data. Okay, so how we're going to do that? Let's pick some numbers and kind of guess and check. Here we go. So we know that when we picked out those are the numbers, we had pretty much 2-digit numbers for the most part. So when we add this up, we want it to add up to 150 points, or 150 altogether. So we want to kind of keep a running total going in our head so that when we add all 5 of these digits, we get 150 points. So that might be 20, 60, that would add up to 70, 100, 150. Okay, so if I'm just adding these mentally, 40 plus 20 is 60, plus 10 was 70, plus 30 is 100, plus 50 is 150. Okay, so just I added that in my head, but here's the work for it. Okay, so here are my numbers, my set of data, 20, 40, 10, 30, and 50. It's always nice if you write them in order, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Again, I have 5 pieces of data, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of data. And if I add these up, I get 150. If I divide it by 3, 150 divided by 5, because there's 5 pieces of data in there, equals our 30. Okay, so let's say we have that group B, group C. We need to find one more set of data with a mean of 30, or an average. Again, remember those two words mean the same thing. Again, sticking to that 5 pieces of data. And then again, I'm going to do a similar thing here and keep that tally going in my head so that I know that it's going to equal 150 when I'm finished. So I might do a 10 and a 15. I know that's 25, and 25 is 50. And then I know 50 and 50 is 100. So that would be 100, and then that would be 150. Okay, so again, adding that up, 10 plus 15 is 25. 25 plus 25 was 50. 50 plus 50 is 100. And 100 plus 50 is 150. So I know that when I add those all up, I'm getting 150. I have 5 pieces of data, so I'm going to divide that by 5. And then I would get 30. So again, my mean or my average for group D is going to be 30 as well. And that's how, again, that we find the mean or the average for a set of data, and how you can create your own set of data to come up with a mean or an average as well. Okay, so again, mean and average, remember those two words are interchangeable, meaning the same thing.